And what can you say?
Well, it's super exciting. Dad ko was a UP alumni, so very happy to be here with the fans.
Ayala's performance throughout the Miami Open has been widely celebrated, highlighting her potential and the growing prominence of Philippine tennis on the international stage.
Police were called to a park in Wyndham Vale around 11:30 p.m. on Friday night after getting a 000 call reporting youths fighting. When police arrived, they found
Ayala's performance throughout the Miami Open has been widely celebrated, highlighting not only her immense potential but also the growing prominence of Philippine tennis on the international stage. That same sense of unexpected momentum echoed at Melbourne Park, where the question seemed to thunder through the hallowed grounds like a summer storm. Can a small country do this? As the sun rose over the Australian Open complex on what should have been a routine Monday morning, tournament organizers instead faced an unprecedented crisis. Security teams scrambled, police were summoned, and barriers were overwhelmed, all sparked by a first-round match that had somehow transformed into a historic moment. At the center of the chaos stood a 20-year-old woman from the Philippines, an unstoppable force who had rewritten expectations and made tennis history. This was not Wimbledon's Centre Court or Arthur Ashe Stadium under the lights, but Court 6 at Melbourne Park, a venue usually reserved for die-hard tennis fans and scouts searching for the next big thing. On this particular Monday, however, it became ground zero for what many witnesses described as the most electric atmosphere the Australian Open has seen in decades. The catalyst was Alexandra Ila, a name now synonymous with hope, pride, and unbridled passion for a nation of more than 100 million people. Hours before the first serve, queues had already begun to form, snaking around corners and stretching across walkways as thousands of fans, faces painted in the red, blue, and yellow of the Philippine flag, flooded Melbourne Park with a singular purpose. They were not there for Novak Djokovic's pursuit of another title or Aryna Sabalenka's title defense. They were there for Ila, and they made sure everyone knew it. The transformation was immediate and total. Court 6, once affectionately known as the party court for its intimate setting, became something else entirely, earning the nickname Little Manila. The air crackled with energy more fitting of a football stadium than a tennis match, as chants erupted, songs echoed, and drums pounded in rhythm with the crowd's collective heartbeat. This was not polite tennis applause but a cultural phenomenon unfolding in real time, one that caught tournament organizers completely off guard as standard security protocols collapsed under the sheer volume of humanity determined to witness history. Bottlenecks quickly formed at the entrances as overflow crowds gathered around giant screens, watching with the same intensity as those fortunate enough to secure seats inside the stadium. The roar of nearly 20,000 voices rising in unison could be heard all the way from center court, drawing curious glances from players and spectators alike. American tennis player Michael Jang, who was preparing for his own nearby match, later remarked that tournament officials had made a massive miscalculation, noting that Ella's first-round appearance generated nearly 20 times more media attention and fan interest than matches featuring reigning Grand Slam champions on adjacent courts. The numbers told a clear story. While established stars competed in relative quiet, a 20-year-old ranked outside the top 100 had effectively shut down an entire section of Melbourne Park. There she stood at the baseline, preparing to face American power hitter Alicia Parks in what would become one of the most talked-about first-round matches in recent Australian Open history. The pressure, national expectations, deafening noise, and millions watching live back home in the Philippines would have overwhelmed lesser players. But Alex Ila was different, a champion forged at the Rafael Nadal Academy, a warrior shaped for moments exactly like this. The opening 30 minutes of the match would later be studied as a masterclass in channeling external energy into elite performance. As Ila didn't just play well, she played transcendent tennis. Ila looked possessed, moving across the court as if the script had already been written and she was simply fulfilling her destiny. Every forehand carried the hopes of a nation, every backhand felt like a declaration, and every point sent emotional shockwaves through the stadium. Alicia Parks, a talented power hitter in her own right, appeared shell-shocked as the atmosphere turned overwhelmingly partisan, sparking online debates about tennis etiquette whenever cheers erupted after her errors. But in that moment, etiquette felt irrelevant. This was about something bigger than tennis, about representation and national pride, about a small Southeast Asian country announcing its arrival on the global stage. Ila dismantled Parks early with relentless intensity, and the crowd responded with scenes of strangers embracing and tears of joy as the impossible began to feel inevitable. Yet tennis is a sport that both builds and crushes dreams, and momentum can vanish as quickly as it appears. Just as Ila Mania reached its peak and fans began imagining a second-round celebration, the tide turned. Parks showed why she belongs on the professional tour, refusing to collapse under pressure as she reset mentally, rediscovered her serve, and fought back with renewed fury. Aces flew, corners were hit, and her power game finally ignited. The match ultimately became a painful lesson in fine margins, as Ila created a staggering 17 breakpoint opportunities but converted only 4, an unforgiving reminder that in tennis, it is often the moments not seized that decide everything. Leaving points on the table proved to be the difference between victory and defeat, and the numbers tell a story filled with frustration and what-ifs. While Ila fought valiantly and won an impressive 68% of her first serve points, she struggled to consistently exploit Parks' second serve and sustain her early dominance. Parks, despite firing 10 double faults that drew loud cheers from the partisan crowd much to the chair umpire's visible annoyance, repeatedly saved breakpoint chances through sheer power and clutch serving when it mattered most. Her serve became the great equalizer, as she blasted 12 aces compared to Ila's lone ace, using her height and strength to earn free points or set up routine finishes. In the crucial moments when Ila needed one extra push to halt the comeback, the serves came too big, too fast, and too precisely placed. Although Ila's defensive skills kept her competitive in extended rallies, Parks had found her rhythm and began dictating play with aggressive ground strokes that pushed the Filipino deeper behind the baseline. The second set unfolded as a mirror image of the first, with roles reversed, as Parks surged to a 3-0 lead and the once roaring stadium fell noticeably quieter. Still, Ila refused to fade, summoning the grit that made her a national icon by battling back to win 3 straight games and level the set at 3-all, reigniting belief throughout the crowd. The stadium erupted once more as belief surged and the comeback seemed real, the script rewriting itself in real time. But Parks, now fully settled and playing without fear, responded with authority, firing back-to-back aces that drained the hope from the arena before closing out the set 6-3. The momentum had completely shifted, and what felt like destiny just 90 minutes earlier now began to slip away. The third set turned into a war of attrition, yet with each game, Parks' power and confidence continued to grow. Ila, despite her relentless effort and fighting spirit, could not sustain the blistering level that had defined the opening set. The American gradually pulled clear, claiming the final set 6-2 and sealing the match with a forehand winner down the line that flew past a diving Ila and seemed to suck the last breath of air out of court 6. The final score 0-6, 6-3, 6-2, told the story of a comeback for the ages, completed against overwhelming odds and a fiercely partisan crowd that had willed its hero until the very end. For Ila and her supporters, the defeat was crushing, made all the more painful by how close victory had felt. Yet what followed is what truly elevated this match beyond a routine first-round upset. The scenes after the final point have since become legendary at Melbourne Park. Ila did not simply wave and exit with a forced smile. She couldn't. The love pouring from the stands was overwhelming, so intense that security guards, more than a dozen by some accounts, formed a protective circle around her, not out of danger but because the sheer number of fans trying to reach her to thank, console, and embrace her became unmanageable. It felt less like a tennis match and more like a moment of Beatlemania, with supporters crying, chanting her name, and pressing against barriers even in defeat. The short walk from court to locker room stretched into a slow procession as Ila repeatedly stopped to acknowledge fans who had traveled far and cheered relentlessly, leaving Australian Open staff stunned by a response they had never witnessed for a first-round loser. The day's drama wasn't over, however, as Ila returned to the court for her doubles match alongside Portuguese partner Francisco Inigo Gamer Martins. Despite the emotional toll, she competed with the same intensity, pushing the experienced pairing of Magda Linette and Shuko Aoyama to 3 sets before falling short again. 2 matches, 2 3-set battles, 2 defeats, enough to break many players, but not Ila. Instead of retreating, she turned to social media with grace beyond her 20 years, expressing gratitude rather than excuses. In a widely shared Instagram story, she reflected on the overwhelming support she had received, writing that it reminded her work was part of something shared, and that the experience would stay with her as she moved forward, signing off with a simple promise: "See you next year." Nonetheless, Ila embraced the experience, learning, growing, and enjoying every moment. Her reflections were far from empty platitudes or PR statements. They came from a young woman who understands she represents something larger than herself, carrying the dreams of her countrymen each time she steps on court. Even in defeat, she found a different kind of victory, refusing to blame pressure, the crowd, missed breakpoints, or unreturned aces. Instead, she acknowledged the privilege of competing and promised to return stronger. The tennis world took notice. Commentators who may have underestimated her before Melbourne began calling her the people's champion, while social media erupted with debates over whether she might currently be the most famous female tennis player in the world, not for rankings or titles, but for the sheer cultural impact she wields. After all, how many players outside the top 100 can shut down a Grand Slam venue, turn a first-round match into international news, and inspire such devotion that police intervention becomes necessary to manage the crowd? Yet Melbourne was only the opening act for Ila. Within hours of her doubles defeat, she was on a plane to Manila for the inaugural Philippine Women's Open, scheduled January 26th to 31st, an event already shaping up as a historic homecoming. For years, Filipino fans had watched her only on screens or saved for expensive trips abroad. Now, she was bringing the show home. The tournament has attracted legitimate talent from across the women's tour, including Russian Polina Kudermova, Croatian Donna Vekic looking to bounce back from her own Australian Open disappointment, and Australian Open qualifying standout Joanna Garland. What was originally conceived as a development tournament has quickly become a must-watch WTA event, all because of one name on the entry list: Alexandra Ila. Manila may well surpass the experience Ila had in Melbourne. Playing in front of a home crowd carries a unique weight that even the most passionate away support cannot replicate. Every point feels magnified, every error stings more, and every victory tastes sweeter. Expectations will be immense, as for many Filipinos, this will be the first time they witness their national hero compete in person. Representing your country abroad is one challenge. Representing it at home is something entirely different. The tactical lessons from the Parks match must be absorbed and applied quickly. If Ila is to achieve her ultimate goal of breaking into the top echelons of women's tennis, and she has the talent and work ethic to do so, she must develop the killer instinct that separates good players from great ones. Dominating a single set is impressive, but maintaining that level across 3 sets against a quality opponent is what defines champions. Her biggest area for improvement is breakpoint conversion. 17 opportunities with only 4 conversions is unsustainable at the highest level. The great Serena, Graf, Navratilova didn't just create chances, they finished them. Ila has proven she can generate break points through intelligent play and precise ball striking, but she now needs the ruthless edge to capitalize when the moment demands it. Likewise, her serve, while reliable, must evolve into a weapon rather than merely a way to start the point. Generating only 1 ace against Parks while conceding 12 created a mathematical deficit that was nearly impossible to overcome. Modern women's tennis is increasingly dominated by power, and while Ila's defensive skills and courtcraft are exceptional, adding more free points and easier holds through a stronger, more aggressive serve would transform her game. Yet perhaps the most important area for development is mental. The ability to manage emotions through the wildest swings of momentum, stay calm when the crowd is frenzied, and maintain focus when everything is on the line. These are skills honed only through experience and deliberate practice. Ila has faced pressure before, but nothing quite like Melbourne and nothing approaching what awaits her in Manila. The good news is that she has the perfect support system to develop these skills. Her time at the Rafael Nadal Academy has given her access to elite coaching, structured training, and the environment necessary to cultivate both the physical and mental tools needed to compete at the very highest level. Her access to some of the best sports psychology resources in the world gives Ila a significant advantage. Nadal himself, arguably one of tennis's greatest fighters, understands how to convert pressure into performance, and the lessons she absorbs from him will serve her well as she navigates an increasingly intense spotlight. Looking at the broader picture, what unfolded in Melbourne could be transformative for tennis itself. The sport has long struggled to attract younger, more diverse audiences, with traditional crowds skewing older, wealthier, and less demonstrative than fans of other major sports. The Ila phenomenon offers a blueprint for engaging passionate fan bases in markets historically underserved by tennis. The Philippines, with a population exceeding 110 million and a sports culture to rival any nation's, has long been obsessed with basketball and produced boxing legends like Manny Pacquiao. Yet tennis had never seen a figure capable of capturing the national imagination in the way Ila has. She embodies possibility, proving that a child from a Southeast Asian nation can train at elite academies, compete with the world's best, and perhaps one day win Grand Slams, an achievement that could reshape tennis's global narrative. Tennis has long been dominated by players from North America, Europe, and Australia, with champions from other regions, like Li Na from China or Naomi Osaka from Japan, emerging only occasionally. True global growth requires stars from diverse markets who can inspire the next generation, and Ila is doing that for Southeast Asia in a way no player ever has. The commercial implications are significant. Sponsors seek athletes who generate headlines and engagement, and Hila's social media following has exploded, while her matches attract viewership far beyond her ranking. She brings an audience that advertisers crave: young, engaged, passionate, and loyal. And as she climbs the rankings and advances deeper in major tournaments, her marketability will only grow. Yet beyond commerce, there is something profoundly beautiful about what Hila represents. In a sporting world often cynical and calculated, her fans' joy is pure and unself-conscious. They're not analyzing shot selection or breakpoint conversion rates. They are celebrating one of their own, competing on the biggest stages, living vicariously through every winner and suffering through every error. The scenes at Melbourne Park drew criticism from some traditionalists as too loud or partisan, sparking debates about etiquette across social media and tennis forums. But perhaps that criticism misses the point entirely. Tennis may need this passion, this energy, and this emotional investment to achieve mainstream appeal. Soccer stadiums roar, basketball arenas intimidate, and football crowds create tangible pressure, yet tennis has demanded near silence for decades. Is that enhancing the product or limiting it? The answer may be subjective, but the atmosphere created by Filipino fans made Hila's match unforgettable in a way a polite, quiet crowd never could. Australian Open organizers have surely taken note. When Hila returns next year, as her social media suggests, they will be ready with a bigger venue, more security, and better crowd management, but also smarter marketing, recognizing they have a draw capable of filling stadiums regardless of ranking, and that keeping her on side courts leaves attention and revenue on the table.
Alex, after a terrific year last year, how does it feel to be making your main draw debut at Melbourne?
It feels great. I'm super excited, coming in.
I won't let you get me down. I'll keep getting up when I hit the ground. No, never give up, no, never give up.